Hello everyone, welcome back again to the channel and to another video. Today we are going to have a look at the tuned daemon. Tuned is a systemd service which can be used to tune the system performance. It's very often used in servers, but it can be also used on a desktop or on a workstation. So let's jump into the video and see what we can do with it. So in this video, I would like to share with you guys something that I'm using also on my production machine. It's actually a tool meant more for servers, but it can be useful also in a workstation. This tool is actually a systemd daemon, which is called tuned. And tuned is actually installed by default in any Red Hat Linux Enterprise or CentOS installation. So for example, let me pull up here. I have a CentOS installation here already prepared. And let's open up the terminal. And let me increase the font size here. For those of you who don't know, CentOS, it's basically a Red Hat Linux Enterprise version stripped out from the branding and also without, of course, any support, because this is what Red Hat is selling. But we have here exactly the same software. So if I type in uname-r, you will see this distribution actually is running the 4.18 kernel, which is an LTS kernel. So of course, this distribution as Red Hat Linux Enterprise is meant mostly for servers, and it's using this kernel for its stability. Now, in this distribution, as in Red Hat Linux Enterprise, we have actually a systemd service that is installed by default, which is called tuned. So what is tuned? Let me pull up here the page that I found actually on the Red Hat website, which is right here. And this is actually the chapter 2 of this manual, and it's explaining about getting started with tuned. So as it says here, tuned is a service that monitors your system and optimizes the performance under certain workloads. The core of tuned are profiles, which tune your system for different use cases. So what this daemon basically does, it's using actually the udev or the user space devices to tune basically the system settings according to a selected profile. So let me give you a practical example. In a typical workstation, most of the time, for example, the Ethernet network interface will be very inactive. Maybe just a few mails comes in once in a while, or you're maybe browsing some pages. So for those kind of loads, the network interface does not have to run at full speed all the time, as it does by default. Tuned has a monitoring and tuning plugin for network devices, and not only for network devices, that can detect this low activity and then automatically lower the speed of the interface, typically resulting then in a lower power usage. So if then the activity on the interface increases for a longer period of time, for example, because you are downloading an ISO or because you are sending an email with a large attachment, then tuned detects this and sets the interface speed to maximum to offer the best performance while the activity level is so high. So this is basically true for networking and some other components in the system as well. So as I said, this is a typical daemon that is run on servers, but it does offer actually also some profiles for workstations or desktop computers. And I will leave a link to this also in the video description below. And let me close this browser tab here. And again, we are back on CentOS. So here, basically, we have a command that we can use to check the status of the tuned daemon. So we can type in tuned-adm active. With this command, we can check which profile has been activated on the system. And as you can see now, it says current active profile is virtual guest, which is perfect because this is actually a virtual machine. We can also list the profiles available by pulling up the last command here with the up arrow and replace active with list and hit enter. And you can see here the list of profiles available. Let me go full screen. So we have accelerator performance, throughput performance-based tuning with disabled higher latency stop states. We have balanced, which is a general non-specialized tuned profile. And we have also desktop optimized for the desktop use case, and some others as well that you can read through. So this daemon comes pre-installed in CentOS and Red Hat Linux Enterprise, but how do we install it actually on Arch Linux? Well, for that, actually, we have a package from the Arch user repository. So let me pull up here the Arch Linux VM. Here we go. So this is Arch. And if I type in uname-r, you can see we are on kernel 5.8.9. So this is the latest kernel at the time of this recording. Of course, if I type in now the commands I typed in CentOS, like tuned-adm active, it says tune the ADM command not found because the daemon is not installed. So as I said, we can install it from the AUR by using the yay command, or if you don't have yay installed, you'll need to use the git clone command. Now, there are two packages actually on the AUR about this daemon. One is tuned and the other one is tuned-git. And I recommend you to install the git version because it contains more profiles. So to do this, we can type in yay-s and then tuned-git and hit enter. And different things to show, I will say none and enter my sudo password and proceed with the installation. Now, this is going to take 1 or 2 minutes, depending, of course, also on your machine to install. So I'll be back when it's done. So the package is now installed, so we can clean up the terminal. We need to enable and start this service so that we can use it. So to do this, we can type in sudo systemctl enable -- now and then tuned. So this way we are basically enabling the service so that it starts when we boot the machine, and with the now switch we are basically starting it also at the same time. So we can then hit enter and the service is now enabled and started. So let's clean up the terminal and try again to type in the profile command I typed in before, which was this one, tuned-adm space active, and hit enter. And you can see the current active profile is balanced. So let's clean up the terminal and type in the list to see the list of profiles available with this daemon. So as you can see, we have a lot of profiles here to choose from. You can read through here and see if there is something that might fit your machine. This is really a matter of trying out and see what works for you. In my case, for example, I go from the desktop profile to the performance profile, depending on what I need to do. So right now I have the balanced profile, but let's say I want to go to virtual guest, because after all, this is actually a virtual machine. And you can see we have also the virtual guest profile here. So what I can do, I clean up the terminal first and type in tuned-adm and then profile and then the profile name. So in my case, it's virtual-guest. And then I can hit enter. It's going to take a second to do that. And if I check in again the profile active in the system, then it says virtual guest. So this is how you can switch basically profiles when you need to. And this is all pretty much there is to it. The daemon will basically tune the system based on the profile you are choosing to give you better performance or more power savings. Now, if you want to turn off the daemon, you can do so by typing in tuned-adm off and hit enter. And if we check again the status, you will see no current active profile. As I said, you can try this out and see how it works for your machine. This is a typical daemon that you would use in a server. So if you have a server based on Arch Linux, definitely install this and it can be beneficial to you. But as I said before, it can be also useful to install it on a desktop machine. Now, if you want to deinstall it, first disable it by typing in sudo systemctl disable -- now tuned and hit enter. And the system is now disabled and stopped at the same time. And we can check this by typing in sudo systemctl status tuned and hit enter. You can see it's inactive. And we can remove then the package by typing in yay-r and then tuned-git and hit enter. Then once you hit enter here, you will basically remove the packages. So this is about tuned. It's a nice daemon and I'd recommend you to try it out and see if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you well enough, then you can always disable it and remove it. Now, this is a wrap for this video. If you installed tuned in your machine, let me know in the comments below how it's working for you. So this is the systemd service called tuned. As you can see, you can install it very easily in the system, you can activate it, or you can also remove it very easily as well. If you try it out, let me know in the comments below how it's working for you and share with the community. I hope you liked this video, guys. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Subs always helps us out. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by visiting our Patreon website, or you can donate via PayPal to our website as well. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.